Yo, what is up, my friends? Welcome back into yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show. Guys, today it's Thursday. That means we got the start of the Week 4 season tonight. We got Jaguars and Bengals. Should be a fun game. Lots of fantasy-relevant players. I'm really pumped to watch. Guys, today I'm going to be giving you my must-start players for the week. And I just wanted to let you know that I'm not just going to be forcing you names for the sake of giving you names. Every week, my list is going to be a different size. Sometimes it'll be smaller, sometimes it'll be bigger, because I am only giving you the players that I legitimately believe are going to go off this week and win a week for you in fantasy football. All right, guys, so I'm going to get right into it. But if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button below and do give me a thumbs up if you like my content today. I appreciate it very much, guys. It helps tremendously. And thanks for your support so far. All right, guys. Starting off my list, I'm going to start with the quarterbacks, guys. I've got two quarterbacks that are absolute must-starts this week, and the first one is Derek Carr, guys. Derek Carr has thrown for 380 yards or more in his first three games on the season. Guys, this is an absolutely freakish statistic. I actually read that this is the fourth most overall yardage a quarterback has ever started the first three games with in the history of the NFL, guys. This dude is playing at an MVP level. And, he's only thrown 2 touchdown passes in each of his first 3 games, which if you look at how many yards he's throwing for, that's actually a little bit fluky. And if he continues to throw for this much yardage, he's going to throw even more touchdown passes than he has thus far. He's the quarterback 9 on the young season, but I see that getting even better because he's going to throw even more touchdown passes due to how efficient this offense is. Once Josh Jacobs comes back, it's also going to be very good for the overall efficiency of the offense, thus helping Derek Carr throw even more touchdown passes. And this dude's going to be a fantasy beast this year. He might be on the waiver wire in your leagues. If so, you need to grab him. If you happen to draft him as a backup, you're very fortunate because he might be better than your starter at this point. Okay, next must-start quarterback is Kirk Cousins. Guys, Kirk Cousins, he's been a beast so far. He's the number 4 quarterback in fantasy football. He's thrown for 300 yards or more in 2 out of his first 3 games. And he has not thrown a single interception, which is pretty impressive. So this dude is one of the best fantasy quarterbacks in the league right now. If you can scoop him off the waivers, do it. If he's your backup quarterback, it's a high likelihood that he's better than your starter. And the point is, guys, the Vikings are going to be involved in a ton of high-scoring games this year. They have a ton of passing weapons to help Kirk Cousins out. So start Kirk Cousins. The dude's going to be a monster all season long. Okay, so a few other must-start players, running backs. Zach Moss, guys. Zach Moss is going to be a matchup-dependent must-start player this year because, I just don't expect him to go off every week, but he has seen an increased workload in the Buffalo Bills offense, and they're playing up against a weak Texans defense. The dude was pretty efficient last week, 13 carries for 60 yards, 3 catches for another 31 yards. And he's found pay dirt in both of the games he's played, so I recommend starting Zach Moss. Next must start, I got a few players on the Jaguars. We got James Robinson, first of all. I think Urban Meyer is figuring out that he needs to use James Robinson if they want to move the ball efficiently because Trevor Lawrence just can't do it all by himself as a rookie. He obviously has a lot of promise and will probably get better throughout the season, which bodes well for James Robinson because it means he's going to get to score more touchdowns. And, the offense, Urban Meyer realizes that he needs to use James Robinson more going forward. I think we saw that in week 3, and he should see a significantly increased workload as the season goes on. They're about to be in a high-scoring game against the Bengals, so this bodes well for James Robinson. Also, guys, you want to start Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones has been Trevor Lawrence's number 1 wide receiver on the year. The dude's scoring touchdowns like crazy. He's seeing the majority share of targets in almost every game. The dude's seen 28 targets already on the young season. This is very impressive considering it was supposed to be a 3-headed monster at wide receiver, but it looks like Marvin Jones is clear-cut the number 1 wide receiver on this team. And as you see Trevor Lawrence sort of transform into the stud quarterback we know that he can be, this bodes well for Marvin Jones, and his numbers should get even better as the season goes on. I see a monster fantasy season coming for Marvin Jones, and you're definitely starting him in this game, which is going to be a high-scoring shootout against the Bengals. So start Marvin Jones this week. Okay, another must-start, guys, is Antonio Gibson. Antonio Gibson has not had a huge fantasy performance yet. He had the 75-yard touchdown catch, which was pretty cool last week. But, look, he's playing the Falcons this week. The Falcons have an absolutely terrible run defense. Saquon ran on him pretty well last week. Pretty much any running back that they face, you want to start. And Antonio Gibson is going to be a volume-heavy stud running back for the year. He's ran very efficiently and made the best of his opportunities, although his volume is a little bit lower than we thought it was going to be. The volume should definitely be up in this game, considering there's a high likelihood that the Washington football team is playing with the lead the entire time, which means I see 20-plus carries for Antonio Gibson in this game. That will be his highest carry total on the year. He's going to get in the end zone maybe a couple times and rush for over 100 yards. I'm almost guaranteeing this, guys. There's not a lot of guarantees in fantasy, but this dude is going to run all over the Falcons. You can bank on it. Okay. Another must-start player for me this week is going to be Jonathan Taylor. And I know Jonathan Taylor owners are happy to hear this because he has been an extreme disappointment so far. I'm actually not big on Jonathan Taylor from a season-long standpoint. However, I'm big on him in this game because the Miami Dolphins are allowing the second most rushing yards to opposing running backs on the young season. They are the worst run defense in football besides the Detroit Lions, who are just awful. And he should be able to run the ball at will and have his first monster fantasy performance of the year. Okay, and another must-start player that I have for the week is going to be Jakobi Meyers. And this might not be a popular opinion because, Jakobi Meyers is, he's not the clear-cut number one on his team, but he is a slot receiver, and slot receivers have been doing really well against the Buccaneers this year because quarterbacks are just forced to dump off the ball so quickly with this nasty pass rush that the Buccaneers have. So Jakobi Meyers being the number one slot receiver on the team, this bodes well for him because Mac Jones is going to have to get rid of the ball really quick in order to not get sacked and get hit a bunch of times in this game. So I see another week of double-digit targets for Jakobi Meyers. He saw 14 targets last week, which is very impressive. I don't expect him to see a double-digit target share in most weeks this season. However, in this game against the Buccaneers, where Mac Jones is forced to dump off the ball quickly, I see double-digit targets for Jakobi Meyers, and I think he's going to be having a monster game from a PPR standpoint. Okay, guys? And then, another must-start running back that I have is Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's had a down week the past couple of weeks, but don't base anything off this, guys. The dude's still getting some of the most heavy rushing volume out of all running backs in the NFL, and this is still one of the most talented running backs in the NFL, guys. Don't write him off just because the last 2 weeks he wasn't very good. You saw he had 29 carries in week 1, 20 carries in week 2, 18 carries in week 3. The dude's getting heavy rushing volume. He's running efficiently, and he's playing a Jacksonville Jaguars defense that is going to be absolutely helpless at stopping the run. I actually have him as my number 3 running back on the entire week, so I just don't want you guys to think that just because Joe Mixon had a little bit of a down week for the past 2 weeks that he's trending in a downward direction. This is absolutely not the case. He's still one of the most talented running backs in football, and he draws probably one of the best matchups of the week as he's going to run all over these Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, guys, those are my must-starts for the week. Like I said, my must-start list is going to be bigger some weeks. It's going to be smaller some weeks because I'm not just giving you a set number of players just for the sake of giving you names. I'm giving you players that I think are week-winning players that are going to have monster fantasy performance and get you that W in week 4. So I hope this video helped, guys. Make sure to plug these guys in your lineup if you want to win, guys. It's all about getting that best team on the field so you can go out there and get that W. All right, guys? I do appreciate your time today, and if you like the video, give me a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to the channel so I can give you more fantasy content throughout the season and off season. All right, guys, I appreciate it, and I will catch you later.